I'm Jane Green, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my new book, Promises to Keep. Promises to Keep is the story of two sisters, Callie and Steffi. Callie is a family photographer in Bedford who seems to have the perfect life, a wonderful husband, two gorgeous children, great career, and she loves her life. Steffi is her completely irresponsible younger sister who cannot hold down a job or a man for longer than about 5 minutes. They have a close friend, Lila, who is going through issues of her own with a wonderful man who has a rather difficult ex-wife. And then there are Steffi and Callie's parents, Walter and Honor, who haven't spoken or even been in the same room for 30 years since they divorced. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, Callie is diagnosed with an illness. And Promises to Keep is really about how all of their lives change once Callie gets sick, and what they learn about love. And people who ask me where the inspiration comes from in my books, the inspiration is always drawn from my own life. I have always charted the course of my life from straight talking when I was young and single, through to Babyville after I had kids, and on from there. And with this book, Promises to Keep, one of my great friends, Heidi, was diagnosed with breast cancer in March of last year. And all of a sudden my life changed and became a lot of hospital trips and doctor's visits and accompanying my friend and with others as well. But as a writer, we process our emotions through the writing, and often I don't even know how I feel about something until I've put the words on the page. And I remember suddenly thinking, I have to write about this. How can I not write about this when it's taken over my life? And the feelings were so strong, and the worry and the concern, and just the type of friend that I suddenly had to step up and be. And yet, on the other hand, how could I possibly invade my friend's privacy? How could I even ask permission? And it must have been about a day later when we were coming out of chemo, and Heidi turned to me with a twinkle in her eye and said, "I hope you're going to write about this." And so I did. It isn't Heidi's story. She's not Callie, and it isn't what I went through. I'm not Steffi or Lila. But it's very much about the lessons I learned going through a journey with my friend, and a journey such as this. And what I really learned was that love is a verb. And I think so often when people are sick, we come out with platitudes like, "Call me if you need anything," or "I'm here if you need me." And actually what love requires are acts of love. Loving someone means thinking of what you can do to make them happy and doing it without waiting to be asked. And I learned tremendous amounts about love, and things that I have taken back into my own life. I think with my other friends, I lazily assumed that they know, or they knew that I loved them. And if we only saw each other once a month or once every couple of weeks, that was fine, because we're all busy and life gets in the way. And I've actually learned that that isn't okay, that I need to show them I love them, not just tell them, but I need to pick up the phone, and I need to email them, and I need to let them know that I'm thinking of them. One of the other things in this book that I love is the cooking, and regular readers will know that there are always very lavish descriptions of food in my novels. And I'm a huge foodie. What I have realized is when you have 6 children, nobody ever invites you anywhere. And so I have to cook. And I cook a bit like a caterer, because I cook every weekend for probably around 20 to 30 people. So I've developed this huge repertoire of recipes that look as if I've slaved over a hot stove for hours, but in fact they are sinfully easy and delicious. Some of them are mine, some of them are my mum's, some of them are collected from wonderful food writers and other sources. But as I was writing this book, I started to describe this food that Steffi, who is a chef, is cooking, and I suddenly thought, I could put this recipe in. Why not share my recipes with my readers? And so at the end of every chapter you have one of my recipes. They have all been tried and tested by me, by my friends, by my family, and I really would love it if you cook them too. And finally, I just need to say that Promises to Keep is not a depressing book. It's a book that has a sad theme, but it's a book that is filled with all of the warmth that you would expect from one of my novels, and it's filled with wonderful characters, and it's uplifting. It's about life and hope and seizing the moment, and I loved writing it. It's my favourite book so far, and I hope it touches you too.